Greetings in the divine name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I the First, King Alpha, and I Divine Mother Empress Benin Queen Omega, and I the children of Jah Rastafari, representing for the Ankh Nation family, popularly called Africa. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Jah. Greetings ones and one. Once again, give thanks for lending ears so I can articulate Rastafari. Yes, ones and one. This word sound here. It's a word sound. I think it me hear it at Jamaica, but it also connected to all the states too. And I'm a bit annoyed by it. In a recent time, we have a group of people where the conquerors label Maroons. And them have a history in Jamaica. You know? And the history of the Maroons depends on which side you look on the Maroons from. Some people are proud to be Maroons because history and the Maroons, them resistance, strong resistance to the colonizers, and them etch out a space in a Jamaica for themselves. You know? With that, with I preferably identify them as what them do for them survival. Yes, them compromise and all that. Some, you have enough Jamaican old Maroons in contempt, and I don't look on the Maroons in a contempt. I look on the Maroons them as resistors, and hence why I declare Rastafari today, because it's out of that African retention coming from the Maroons them where I as Rastafari, you know what I mean? Claim Ankh Nation so-called African identity. And I create own identity and declare myself as Rastafari. So I pay homage to the Maroon them from that perspective. You know what I mean? And within the context of survival, the compromise own was the compromise. So not like most people who want to hold the Maroon them in a contempt. And I say them a traitor and them a sellout and all of that. I look on the Maroon them compromisation within the context of survival. Enough ones say them sell this and them, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like me say, enough ones and ones don't point out the fact say when the British, the Mariner fight, the British them and the Spanish them, there were black people fighting against the Maroon. Enough people don't highlight these things, so therefore them for the survival of the Maroons them did a fight against the white man, white colonizers and the controlled Africans, or the captives, or the slaves. You see me I come from? So, but that's not the issue I really want to contest or contend with. My problem now with the recent Maroon narratives is this. Them have a say some here Queen Africa one of the main proponents of this narrative. But them want to make a distinction and a separation between Maroons and slaves, descendants of slaves. And this mindset and this ideology, because this is a divisive mindset. But I find issue with it. And the issue I have with it is that it's a full time now we stop the divisiveness. You know what I mean? There's only, at least within Rastafari, there's only one people. You know what I mean? It's the descendants of the captives. We are all so-called African people. So when Queen Africa I mentioned, say, like I say, I mentioned, make a separation between first people and Jamaicans. We have an issue with that. I hear my issue with it now. I'm going to try to be as articulate as possible so we get the sound across properly without confusion. And this is it. If you grew up in a Jamaica, anywhere where black people reside, or diaspora people, you have some people, when you ask them who them be, them quick to tell us that them are part Indian, them are part Irish, them are part German, them are part this, and some of the, but in a Jamaica particularly, if them not identify the colonizers them as them are part of the colonizers them identify themselves as Maroon. reason why them identify themselves as Maroon and they don't want to identify themselves as Nation African people is because being a Maroon, it brings a sense of pride, a sense of, I guess enough for them mind make them feel specialness. And when you identify as an African or an Nation African, I prefer use the word Nation. Because Africa to me, it's questionable. So I rather give I own name. Just like how I declare Rastafari as I own. I want to name the continent, the black continent, Nation, so-called Africa. Now that me get that out of the way, back to this narrative here, where I'm annoyed by it. Now, Queen Africa now, like I said, them love to talk about them are first people making a distinction. When we don't like to ask somebody like Queen Africa and all of the people in this mindset is this. If we're not first people, how is it that the liberators were not called on our ancestors now? Kojo, Nani, Kwako, and Akompo, and all of the other leaders' name. Why them not Arawak name? Why them not Taino name? Why African name them have? This is it, and this is it. Now, the remnants of the Arawaks them get interbreed. Them interbreed with the Africans them and them get absorbed by the African. The Africans them are outnumbered. The resistant Africans them are up in the hills. So there's no more Taino. And if there is, them scant. But nonetheless, why you are calling yourself Maroon? Why you not speak Arawak language? Since you not Arawak are one of the first people and carried people, why not speak that language? This is the problem we do because we don't want to identify themselves as Africans because these people, the colonizers, put a stigma on their mind against Africa. So they refuse to identify with Africa. Just like on the same thing what them do with the Asian them put a stigma in our mind against Asian people. And now we think every time you talk about Haiti, you talk about negative. And this is the reason why the current Prime Minister want to take Jamaicans down for send guy Haiti for fight the Asian them for the colonizers perspective. And we need to get away from that. We are one people. When are we going to recognize that we are one and do away the divisive mindset? We have to stop that. And this is why I declare Rastafari, because Rastafari is viable in this regard, because Rastafari identify the oneness of I as a people. I'm going to make a distinction. You know what I mean? And when I say Rastafari, I know these things I'm talking about the blackness, the divine blackness. Rastafari give you your identity and gave you something that the colonizers cannot say they gave it to you. This is why I declare Rastafari and I articulate and speak to the viability of Rastafari for I as a people. I own. And one thing colonizers can't say them give it. Them can't claim Rastafari. Well, let me not say. Them can't say them give it Rastafari because nowadays, no from one love. Rastafarians want to introduce them into Rasta and not talk about one love. There's no such thing as no one love. Let me get that out of the way because it's because of the colonizers why we have to declare Rastafari today because there's stone and destroy I identity. And I is the captives who came on the ships and refused to accept what them say. And we war them. And at them, I the same people what these Maroons are called themselves Maroons. I is the resistance. And now I declare I self now and call myself Rastafari. And give I back, redeem I self between I divine and I identity. So now colonizers can't come tell us that them give a Rasta. And this is why I declare Rasta. And this is why Rastafari is viable. So back to the narrative of Queen Africa and the rest of Maroons. We have a history now. And the history, we have a stigma. And instead of no work to clean it up, we continue on this divisive mindset. What will be the benefit of that to Uno? And then on turn and talk about African slaves. I ain't no African slave around here. You have captives and you have resistors. And the resistors are still here. Yes, the slave mind them still there, but Uno Maroons, Uno never name. Uno come off of the ship as Africans. And those original people that was here when them name Tainos or Arawak people and Caribs. Because I notice when I not talk about the Carib side of the thing too, you know. The Caribs was here too. The Asian African them come and build up this part of the world there too. Before the Amerindians them come. So anywhere they take it, on the black skin people who feel proud on a maroon, on African people. All indigenous come from Africa. Whether they come 10,000, 15,000, 20, 60, 50,000 years ago. Out of Africa they come from. Preferably Ant Nation to I and I. So it's time for it put away with the divisiveness, man. And like I said, Queen Africa, 1 minute you talk about unity and the next minute you make a distinction. Do away the divisive mindset. One set of people there. You know what I mean? If you don't feel you want to hold on to the Jamaican money and say we are Jamaican school, nothing wrong with that. But stop trying to divide I and I as a people. We are one people. And it's time I and I get into the fullness of oneness, one accord. These people continue to play us against each other and we are fulfilled on it now. What we want to do now. So now Maroon on the superior. You know, it's the same mindset when I put that for the colonizers do. The reason why them do what them do to win because them feel like them superior to. So when on the Maroon now we're not superior to regular Jamaican blacks. And that you know what I say? Nothing special about them. And when you don't want to hold on the stigma compromise. So now compromises and police. Because that will cause division and that will make I and I relive that experience. And when I want to do that, it's time for we put them things there and unify as a people and work toward liberating this country we call Jamaica. We don't see what they do around here. We have to stop the divisiveness. When you're not nothing wrong, we don't want to hold on the maroon heritage. You know. I and I have a problem with that. But I and I have a problem with the divisive mindset. We're not trying to make a distinction. There's no distinction. And the warriors them come off of the ship and the colonizers label them maroon, wild and untamed because them can't control them. And this is what Rastafari is about. I mean, reiterate what is Rastafari because I know if I want to go and I don't know. Rastafari is the spirit of resistance, birthed from that diabolical enterprise called the transatlantic slave trade that brought captives and turned captives into slaves. Those who refuse them label them wild and tame, hence Maroon, hence Marcus Garvey, hence Rastafari. And we are the resistors still there. But we just take on a name now where we know so them can't, and them give to it. And we are give them our divine, which is His Imperial Majesty the Emperor Haile Selassie, because I and I declare the king. So we don't need no permission. And I and I name I and I self. And I take on the identity of Rastafari. That is it. We don't need no more discussion on that. I and I just have what? Look to the viability and know say I and I want to work and build it. And that's the thing there. And we don't have no confusion in that. There's a whole heap of confusion when you talk about Maroon and all that thing because there's a stigma. But when you say Rastafari, let's say Rastafari clean up everything. Another oneness then now we can work and build upon and liberate I and I self from the clutches of the colonizers using black skin. Because we see how it work now. Anyway, know that Rastafari is yours. Ja Rastafari without apology. Seal.